Madam Chair, trustees, ladies and gentlemen, with my back to the wall of fire. Over 30 years in the service of Canada dealing with sailors, ships, and the sea taught me always to trust those in authority unless I became absolutely convinced that my confidence in their leadership, my faith in them, my trust was not warranted, in which case I should do something about it. Now here I am, 3 decades later, facing perhaps the most extensive, the most prolonged and expensive of my time, and certainly the most wearying challenge ever to my sense of trust. And it's rather ironic that my sense of trust, questionable to do with Islands Trust, and specifically the Gambier Islands Trust. So I'm going to call you to it. Please tell me, Madam Chair, why I should trust you. Why should any of us trust you? Since my first real contact with GIT over a year ago, I must tell you quite honestly, the feeling has grown in me, meeting by meeting, that you don't care a fig about the concerns and suggestions of the small islanders. You act, as one put it rather cogently the other day, rather like the Mayor of Surrey coming in to run a Vancouver City Council meeting. I would ask you, how many of our small islands have you visited? How many of you have any of you visited? Last September, as more and more small island citizens began to find their voice in the Small Island Steering Committee, and I should point out to you that as of the other day, we now have 23 islands responding to this SISC. We felt that it was important to share with you their serious concerns about the draft OCP. We requested several changes and we offered ongoing assistance to help improve the document. We might as well have mailed it to the moon. In October, we wrote to Chair Malcolmson to voice our concerns and to say that we were no longer confident that you, Madam Chair, had any intention to consider the suggestions of the small islanders. We asked for her help in resolving an untenable lack of trust situation. Her response of greatest confidence in you was as to be expected. Nothing was gained, no help was received. At about that time, I can't forget it, the day my friends and I were seated facing you as children in school while you gave us a 20-minute dissertation on decorum. And then right afterwards, I was rung, my 3 minutes were up by your personal bell ringer. Then in December, we sent to Islands Trust Council our formal administrative fairness complaint letter, a comprehensive documentation of the small islanders' concerns about discriminatory, negligent, and unfair actions and policies of the GIT under your leadership. And I recently noted with some glee that you had been excused from an Island Trust Council meeting for 3 minutes while they discussed a letter back to me, which I have not yet received. And while that letter has been crawling through the review process, you and your trustees have been forging ahead towards approval of essentially the same flawed document that we first met a year ago. You have not addressed the uneven-handed application of policies regarding Citizens Committee, build-out authorization, self-sufficiency, water and power lines, precautionary principle, parkland dedication, and other concerns such as our long-standing request to include Island Trust Policy 5.8.3, which your staff found a place to insert, your trustees supported, and you yourself disallowed. Why should we trust you, Madam Chair? And why trust you, Jan? You're the one who said, and I quote, "Don't worry, Roger, this won't affect you on Mickey Island. We're not after small islands like you." And you assured us that first reading was simply to put the OCP on the table, that it could be evenly amended then and sent back for a second first reading. And on the 1st of February, you suggested indeed that I could bypass my downsizing problem by rushing to build now before the law changes, when I don't know now whether my children ever will want a second cottage, let alone where it would be sited. Under these circumstances, that wouldn't be a particularly eco-friendly solution. Good thing to do, wouldn't it? And Jan, you are forever professing how happy you are to hear from us. Yet you seem already to know how you're going to vote, and I think most of us know how it's going to be also. And as for you, Louise, perhaps you're the only one who really tells it like it is. But where is the voice of your conscience? You it was who said that it was a mistake not to allow a citizens committee, and then you voted to refuse it. You supported the inclusion of 5.8.3, and then you buckled. When discussing our complaints with you at the last public meeting, you smiled mischievously at me and you said, we're going to first reading. Right on. And at last week's APC, amid the talk about that crazy, dangerous statement in section 1.3, you said, and I can almost quote you, neither APC proposal nor public input will change how it's going to be. Or did you in fact say the OCP won't be amended? I expect you're right again, sadly. So why should I trust you? Do you perhaps have another agenda? In summation, ladies and gentlemen, if you three know, as you appear to know, exactly how it's going to be, why have you wasted our time coming to all these meetings? The Queen of the North sails on into the night. Captain asleep, bridge staff in neutral, autopilot switched on, and Gill Island is right ahead. Thank you.
Mr. Sweeney, I did not interrupt you because I knew that I would be criticized if I did. But I would request the other delegates address the business of this meeting and not be addressing the personalities and the activities of the members if you can. We are, in fact, like any municipal council or regional district board, and if I sail in looking like mayor, I do chair this committee, and I am trying to do my best. And I would speak very strongly for the dedication and the good work done by my fellow trustees. And I'm very sorry you're so disappointed, and I would actually just move now to the next delegate, who is...
I just want to say one thing. I'm disappointed because we worked really hard. I want to say that my job is to listen to you and to everyone. It's my job. And I really made a point of listening and reading. And at the end of the day, it's my job to make a decision. I may not agree with you, but I want you to know I'm listening right now.